Hello, beautiful souls. So today I want to talk about something that I think is much deeper than manifestation. I want to talk about designing your life because I think a lot of people know what they don't want. They don't want to struggle. They don't want to be broke. They don't want to be lonely. They don't want to work a job that they hate. They don't want to live where they live. They don't want their relationships to feel the way that they do. They don't want to feel stuck. And so they say, I just want to be rich. I just want to be famous. I just want to get out. But there's a problem with only knowing what you don't want. You still haven't designed the life that you actually desire and want to live. And I think that's one of the most important things I've learned through my own personal journey. You have to get very specific. Not because the universe needs you to fill out a form, because your mind needs clear direction. You cannot consciously create a life that you haven't taken the time to imagine. So let's start there. If you have complete creative control over your life, what would you actually design? Not what looks impressive on Instagram, not what sounds good when you tell somebody else, not what you think you're supposed to want. What do you want? Who are your friends? I want you to actually think about this. What kind of people are sitting around your table? Are they ambitious, creative, funny, intelligent, spiritual, entrepreneurial, adventurous? Do they challenge you? Do they celebrate you? Do they have beautiful lives of their own? Do they inspire you? What does friendship actually feel like in the life you're designing? And then, your romantic relationship. What kind of person or people are you with? How do they speak to you? How do they make you feel? What does your relationship look like on an ordinary Tuesday? How do you communicate? How do you handle conflict? How do you spend your weekends? How do you travel? How do you support each other's dreams? What kind of love are you experiencing? Don't just say, I want a partner. Design the relationship. Now think about your business. Who are the people around you? What kind of clients? What kind of collaborators? What kind of mentors? What kind of rooms are you walking into? What conversations are you having? What are people calling you about? What are they asking you to create? What are you exceptionally good at? What are you known for? What does your work actually look like? And money. Don't stop at, I want to be rich. That's not a design. What does wealth actually allow you to experience? Where do you live? How much time do you have? What does your morning look like? What can you afford without stress? What do you choose to invest in? What do you give? What do you build? What does financial freedom mean specifically to you? Because I think there's something incredibly powerful about taking something that has been vague and giving it a shape. And this is something I actually practice. My phone is one of the easiest ways I do it. I use Pinterest almost like a moving vision board. Instead of just having random pictures saved somewhere, I intentionally put images in my visual environment that represent the life I'm interested in creating. Places, interiors, fashion, travel, business, lifestyle, people, ideas, experiences, things that make me think, yes, that's the direction. And then I see it again and again and again. Not because looking at a picture magically deposits money into my bank account, but because I'm constantly giving my attention a visual language for the life that I'm interested in. Your phone is already one of the most visually influential objects in your life. So why not design what enters your eye gate? Look at your lock screen, look at your home screen, look at your social media feed. your Pinterest boards. Look at the accounts you follow. Look at what you're consuming first thing in the morning. What are you repeatedly showing your mind? Because your attention is valuable. And I think we should be much more intentional about what we feed it. Now let's talk about something even more powerful. Those words of yours. My fave, Florence Scovel Shinn, she wrote extensively about the power of the spoken word and the idea that our words have creative force. And whether you approach that spiritually, psychologically, or somewhere in between, I think there's a tremendous value in becoming conscious of what you repeatedly say about yourself. Because your words become instructions. I always mess things up. I'm terrible with money. It's even hard for me to read and share these with you because I intentionally don't use those phrases, but I'll continue. Examples. Nothing ever works for me. I'm just unlucky, always broke, bad at relationships. People don't respect me. Never gonna have that. Sometimes we say these things jokingly. And listen, I'm guilty of it too. We all have our own crazy little sense of humor. Sometimes you just say something ridiculous because it's funny. But I think there's a difference between having a sense of humor and constantly rehearsing an identity you don't actually want. Your words matter, especially the words you repeatedly say about yourself. So try something. Listen to yourself today. Not with judgment, not just with curiosity. What are you constantly telling yourself? What are you constantly telling other people about yourself? What are you joking about? What are you claiming? And then ask, is this actually the story I want to keep creating? Because if you're designing your life, your language is part of the design. And this is where Bob Proctor's work around money affirmations comes into the conversation. One of the well-known statements associated with his work is, money comes to me easily and frequently in increasing quantities from multiple sources. Notice the intentionality, not just, I want money. There's a direction, multiple sources, increasing quantities, frequency. The statement is very specific. And that's the kind of intentionality I want you to bring into your own life. Don't just say, I want success. What does success mean? Don't just say, I want love. What does love feel like? Don't just say, I want money. What does money allow you to do? Don't just say, I want freedom. What does a free Tuesday morning look like for you? Design it, name it, write it down, see it, speak about it, and then start making decisions that are consistent with it. Because this is where manifestation becomes practical. You can have the vision board, you can have the affirmation, you can have the beautiful Pinterest board, but eventually you have to live. You have to make decisions, learn, create. You have to take the opportunity, become skilled, communicate. You have to move. The vision gives your mind a direction. Your decisions give it momentum. And there's another part of life design that I think we don't talk about enough. The people around you. Because people often reflect what we believe we deserve. And I'm not saying that every person who treats you badly is somehow your fault. That's not what I'm saying. But I do think our relationships can give us information about our self-concept. If you consistently experience people disrespecting you, take a moment to ask yourself, what do I believe about myself that allows this dynamic to feel familiar? What do I tolerate? What do I communicate? What do I expect? What do I believe I deserve? Because people don't only respond to what we say, they respond to what we consistently demonstrate. So if you want different relationships, design them. and then become someone who participates in relationships at that level. Same with money, business, friendships, your lifestyle, your own self-image. And this is why I keep coming back to the idea of controlling your mind. Not controlling every circumstance, not controlling other people, not pretending you can think your way out of every difficult experience, but becoming intentional about the thoughts you repeatedly entertain, the images you repeatedly consume, the words you repeatedly speak, and the decisions you repeatedly make, because those things are shaping you every single day. So here's your assignment for today. I want you to design one area of your life. Not 10, just one. Maybe it's friendship, maybe it's love, maybe it's money, maybe it's your business, your home. Write down what you actually want. Get very, very specific. Then create something your mind can see. A Pinterest board, your phone screen, note in your phone, journal page, vision board. Something you will encounter every day. And then choose your language. How does a person living that life speak about herself? What does she no longer call impossible? What does she expect? What does she believe is normal? And then choose one action, one thing you can do today that belongs to the life that you just described. Because you don't need to have the entire map, you just need a direction. And once you have a direction, you start noticing things. People, ideas, opportunities, information, connections, possibilities, things that were always around you, but you weren't looking for them. That's the part of manifestation I find fascinating. Sometimes the world doesn't suddenly change. Your perception changes. And because your perception changes, your choices change. And because your choices change, your life starts changing. So this morning, don't just ask yourself, what do I want? Ask, what am I designing? And then ask, what would I have to believe about myself for that life to feel natural? That's where I want you to begin. Not with someone else's dream and goals, not with a trend, what looks impressive, with yours, because your life is going to be lived by you. So you might as well make it intentional. And if you want to go deeper with me into manifestation, wealth, mindset, self-concept, and intentionally designing your life, click the link in the description box and come on into my world. And before you go, I want you to answer one question in the comments. Not what you want to manifest, something deeper. If nobody could judge your answer, what would you design your life to look like? Really think about it and then tell me, because the life you want might already be waiting for you to get specific enough to recognize it.